Welcome back to CryptosRus. I'm George. We're all George. So this morning we had a huge piece of news. CPI data get released, and it shows inflation in the U.S. has dropped to the lowest level we have seen in over 2 years, going all the way back to 2021. So what does this mean overall? Are markets going to rally? What is Powell going to do with this data? And did inflation really drop? Let's talk about all these things and more. Welcome, guys. The market bell has rung. And I think today is going to be a glorious day. I think the markets will rally today because inflation is coming down. That means Powell doesn't have to be so aggressive going forward, right? So this is what it looks like. CPI, we were at peak right here, about 9%, okay? And then we have now dropped to 4%. Now, in case you're wondering, last month, this is measuring May, by the way. So the previous month, April, was at 4.9, and we have dropped to 4. That's a 0.9% drop. 0.9%. That's a whole lot. But core inflation only went down by 0.2%. So 5.5 down to 5.3. Okay, so at least that's going the right direction. But CPI, headline inflation, overall inflation, went down by 0.9%, which is huge. But what actually went down? Because it still seems like everything is very expensive. All right, so looking at this, let me remove my camera. I have it broken down for you guys, or not me, but at least the U.S., whatever this Bureau of Labor Statistics did. If you look at this, food is still up. Food actually went up in May, which is not good. Energy, however, went down huge. The overall category for energy went down about 11.7%. This is year over year. Went down 3.6% month to month, okay? And then you have energy commodities. Gasoline went down. Fuel oil went down 7.7% for the month. Overall, year to year, 37% down. That's great. That's great for energy, for gas, for fuel. But what about everything else? Energy services, still higher year over year, although for the month of May, we went down a little bit. All items, less food and energy went down 2.6% right here. Overall, year to year, you're not minus 11%. That sounds great. And then finally, we had used cars come down year to year 4.2%, although for the month, it's still elevated at positive 4.4%. So looking at this, food is still higher month to month. Cars are still higher month to month. Apparel, meaning clothes, is still higher month to month. Medical care services still higher. Shelter, transportation services. I mean, basically all the things that you measure outside of gas, basically, still went up. I mean, they're still higher, right? But if you look at year to year overall, a lot of the categories did go down. But anyways, this is the reason why, if you look at core inflation, why it's still higher than CPI is because it subtracts off energy. So that's why there's a big difference there, right? But overall, we'll take the win, okay? Meaning that inflation is coming down. That all those crazy rate hikes that we have seen over the past year has started to work. I know there's some debate about that, but you know, it's numbers don't lie unless they do lie and they're fabricated. But the good news is tomorrow for the FOMC meeting, there's a 100% chance that there will be no more hike. There will be a pause. And if you look at what's the prediction for the month afterwards, well, in July, right now, it looks like there's a 30 now. This is big. This is a change. 37, 38% saying there will be a pause in July as well, and only 58% chance of another bump. I mean, in my opinion, it makes no sense that there will be another bump in July when there's a pause in June, especially if CPI data shows inflation is going down, right? Why would you want to add more pressure to the economy? It makes no sense. You don't want to go too far. If you go too far, coming back from that is much harder than just pausing and waiting and seeing, right? So overall, that's pretty good. Here's the thing. Look at China. China is now considering a broad stimulus package with rate cuts because it seems like they have gone too far. Seems like their economy is just not doing as well, right? So this is what we don't want to do in the U.S. We don't want to go too far and needing to print more money with more stimulus, right? It seems like we had enough. We should just pause. No more. No more, and wait and see, and let's see what happens. All right. Now, outside of inflation data, Bitcoin is up a little bit. Overall, crypto is up a little bit. And you know what? Of course, regulatory concerns is still ongoing. People don't know what to expect or think of the SEC and Gary attacking everyone, but we will get a really, really, really good piece of news today about it. I don't know if it's out yet or will be out, but it's supposed to be out today, and that is this. The Hinman documents will be releasing today. If not, maybe it's already released. I haven't seen it yet, but this could be huge and could have put a big blow towards SEC and Gary Gensler. The SEC fought very, very, very hard to keep these documents sealed, not releasing them to the public. Because if it does, basically it's too late now. It is going to be released, but their original thinking was this is going to cause a lot of confusion and make it harder for the SEC to basically determine what's a security and what's not, because they wanted to be able to control that narrative. They don't want the public. They don't want other projects to be able to use actually what was discovered in here in terms of what is a security and what's not, specifically pertaining to Ethereum, which was declared by Hinman, a previous director, to be a non-security, to be a commodity, right? But what was his thoughts behind that? What made him conclude that? SEC did not want anyone else to know, right? Just like right now, Gary does not want to answer if ETH is a security. So this should be absolutely huge. Brad Garlinghouse said it himself, right? We waited 18 months, and I believe it's well worth the wait. Basically, there will be a lot that's coming out of here, and this should allow Ripple to finally win the case and allow other projects to defend themselves. Okay? Right now, SEC made a lot of accusations against projects like Cardano and Polygon and Solana and so forth, have not sued them directly yet. But with the Hinman documents out, these guys could all start preparing for legal battle if it comes down to that. And it's going to make the SEC think twice about suing, because they don't want another Ripple situation where it makes them look like absolute idiots, right? And the more cases the SEC loses, the less power they have going forward. So, yeah, that's coming out today. That's coming out today as well. All right. Now, outside of this, I saw this too. Bitcoin, you would think that 2023, has not been a good year, okay? But many people forget that at the beginning of the year, Bitcoin was still at 16,000. Actually, 15,000. That was the low. So this is actually kind of shocking. 48,000 new Bitcoin millionaires. 48,000, almost 50,000 new Bitcoin millionaires created in 2023 alone. Now, how did this person come up with this? Well, if you look at the rich list and you look at addresses, okay, there's a lot. There's about 7 million addresses holding at least 1,000 Bitcoin. Only 2 million over 10,000. Then you have 317,000 that's holding above 100,000. And then you have 70,000 holding above 1 million. And then you only have 5,000 holding above 10 million. Those are the whales, right? But that 1 million address count went up by 50,000 versus 2022 numbers. That's a big jump. So first of all, a lot of people probably took advantage when things were lower, right? But also, mostly I think it's just due to people DCAing. It's really hard to DCA into one single Bitcoin, let alone how many Bitcoins are needed. 50 Bitcoins are needed to get to that magical 7 digits, $1 million, right? But the easiest way to do it is DCA over long haul, right? Now, keep in mind that these numbers are probably elevated, meaning that there are certain people, I'm sure, that have multiple addresses. So I'm thinking you could cut these addresses down by, half. Or maybe even a third. So if you think about it, there's probably only about 30,000 people that have, that are Bitcoin millionaires. I'm thinking, but you know what? Who knows? But anyways, the point is this. DCA works. DCA long haul works. In a year like 2023, we're not very bullish. Not very bullish at all. And still, you had almost 50,000 new millionaires or 25,000 new millionaires, whatever the case. That's awesome. That's fantastic. And here, this is also fantastic. This is just looking at this moving average, the EMA 20 on the weekly scale. Okay, whenever Bitcoin breaks above and retouches, well, then good things happen, right? Look at what happened in 2017 and look at what happened in 2021. Both times, Bitcoin broke above this 20 EMA and then touched upon it, utilized it as a support, and then boom, started heading higher. One time it went up 3,100%, another time went up 618%. And guess what we just did? We broke above and we have retouched it once again, getting ready for the next bull run. As we get closer and closer to the halving event, right? Who knows how high Bitcoin will go this time around. Looking good. And of course, fundamentals like illiquid supply, which is basically Bitcoins that have been taken off the exchanges and held and not moved, okay, for a long time. Liquid supply continues to go higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. That's fantastic. The more that gets taken out of the circulation, the better it is. More buy pressure, basically, or more price action. Yeah, good stuff. And then I saw this. Most of us are trying to get away from the dollar or treasury bills, but so many people around the world love it, right? So this is interesting that there will be tokenized U.S. treasury bills, okay, and this will be released in the Philippines, Indonesia, India, and Vietnam for other countries that really want to buy U.S. dollars because their currencies are even more risky, right? It's interesting that, so tokenization could really happen to anything, okay? It could happen to real estate, it can happen to bills, trusts. You can now tokenize treasury bills. This will be never allowed by the SEC in the U.S., but in other countries, it is being allowed, right? And there's funds also that's being tokenized. I mean, there's so much that you can do, right? As long as there's motivation and no regulatory concerns, I guess, right? And then lastly, I don't think anyone really uses E-toro, but unfortunately E-toro is following Robinhood and just taking a knee without even being asked. So E-toro is delisting 4 cryptocurrencies that were deemed securities recently, and they include Algorand, Decentraland, Dash, and Polygon. Okay, basically, no good, no good. Robinhood, eToro, I don't know who else. I mean, these are all platforms that also trade stocks. So I guess they're really afraid that if they don't comply, they're going to get their brokerage license revoked too. I don't know if that's the case, but, you know, it's sad that they're not standing up to the SEC like Coinbase and Binance both are, right? It kind of sucks. All right, that is pretty much it. Overall today, looking good so far. So far, you got a lot of big movers. And of course, what else is good is I announced this last night. I'm going to announce it now. I'm going to keep announcing it for this week. You guys need to know about this VIP party. I've been hyping this for a long time. I released the site last night. It's called wag.life. What an awesome name. WAG, in case you don't know, is We Are All George. But the VIP party, I've been hyping it up for a while. It's basically a go. I did want to give you guys ample time to prepare for it. It will be in Vegas. It'll be at Mandalay Bay. It'll be in a foundation room, rooftop, enormous place, very pretty place, right? I will be inviting a lot of projects, a lot of influencers. Of course, myself will be there, and there may be other people that you guys want to meet. So it's going to be a good VIP party, networking party. It's going to be about 4 hours, open bar. You got some hors d'oeuvres, some nice food. It's just a really good way to meet me, meet others, and network. So yeah, this is out, right? So I'm going to put this in the description as well. But basically, all previous I Am George NFT holders are invited, right? One of the benefits, I said, I'm going to add benefits to NFT holders. So all previous NFT holders are invited. All you have to do is sign up. There's a link. You click tickets. It leads you to this page. Now, in case you are not a holder, I do have new tickets, basically. New NFTs, Vegas ones especially, created for this event, very exclusive. But you just click on this link. That's it. If you have one of these previous ones, including the strap-on ones, which many people do, right? All you have to do is click the link and sign up. If you don't, well, you could consider one of these new Vegas NFTs, which is actually priced really well considering what you're going to be getting at this party. So, love to see a lot of you guys there. If not, that's okay. There'll be a lot more conferences coming up in the future, including one in Florida, and then this one will probably be in Chicago. So there you go. All right, let's do some Q&A. All right, let me see. Let me scroll. JKS is trying to spread FUD about ETHgate. I have no idea what you're talking about, okay? And please stop spreading FUD. Slow me. Opinion on what will 10x if you had to 10x your money? Buy the big caps and mid caps, man. Big caps can do a 10x easy. Easy. Let's see here. Taco Tuesday. I guess. Let's see here. Yes, I mispronounced Cardano, man, Cardano. All right, let's see here. Yeah, someone asked about the TV series. Yeah, hopefully around this event is when the TV series comes out. I've been told it's either 2 days before this, which will be July 27th, or I asked if we can debut it at this party, right? I'm going to be inviting, if so, I'm going to be inviting some of the teams to participate, to come in. I can introduce them, right? We can have like a showing party. It'll be a pretty good thing if I can pull that off, but I'm not sure if I can. Either way, if the show is debuted beforehand, I'll still be able to have a watch party and introduce the teams, right? So there will be, you know, personal time with these guys there. Blockchain Game Dev says, you always talk about reverse Jim Cramer. Do you think it's time to do the reverse Gary Gensler play? I don't know. Cramer seems to have this skill to call tops and bottoms. And sometimes me too, in a reverse fashion. But, you know, when you do the inverse Cramer, it seems like you're 100%. I don't know about Gary. It's going to take a while. He don't make crazy predictions. Right, but you know, we'll see. We'll see. If he starts losing a lot left and right, then maybe. Why didn't SEC sue FTX? Because SBF and Gary Gensler's were. Oops, I didn't change my camera view. I just realized that's why I'm looking sideways. Gary Gensler and SBF. They were buddies. They had multiple meetings. Gary was ready to make FTX a brokerage so that they can trade stocks and also offer derivatives. So yeah, there was a lot. There was a lot planned for FTX, and then that all went away and made Gary look really bad. Lazaro, yes, we will. You just have to have patience. The FOMC meeting is basically set in stone. The schedule set in stone. 1:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So that's going to be tomorrow. Yeah, bend the knee. What did I say? Oceania. I can't even pronounce that. Oceania.com. What did I say? I said bend the knee. Have you finished your new house? No. Obviously, no. I'm still making videos on it. It's far from over. Not far, but it's about halfway through. It's getting exciting. More than halfway through. It's probably like 3/4. 3/4 done. Are Hinman docs a nothing burger? No, I think this is gonna be pretty revealing. Let's go show exactly their thoughts, the SEC thoughts about Ethereum and why they declared it a commodity and not a security. And those very reasons could be applied to other crypto in this space. Let's see. Tesla is up pretty big. Nvidia is up. Coinbase is up. I noticed recently AMD up slightly. I thought AMD would be up more. Microsoft, let's see. Up slightly. Tesla has just been, you know, my options. I gotta sell my options. Ooh, today's a good day for a Tesla. Like 6 months ago, I bought these call options at 250, ending on the 16th, which is this Friday, right? And Tesla, you know, for a while went down to like 160, 170. I'm like, yeah, I was just going to lose 100% on those call options. But it roared back, so now I may be able to sell it in the green. I may actually make some money off that call. But that was one of my riskier calls. I have this other contract that's for end of year, December at 175. I'm up like 700% on that one. So that's looking pretty good. You could see BNB is rallying today. BNB is just so strong despite the lawsuit and named as a security. XRP is up today. Polygon is also up today, right? Those of you guys that took advantage, DCA'd recently. Avalanche up 4%. Uniswap up 7%. Filecoin up 7%. You got some good movers today. BTC dominance coming down. No, it's still pretty high. It has not come down at all. Lazaro, yeah, it kind of sucks, but we'll get through it. We'll get through it. For time being, kind of sucks. Yeah, I didn't mention about Denver or the Nuggets. You know, it's like probably the boringest finals we ever had, because no one cares about Jokic or the Nuggets winning that chip. And Jimmy Butler is not Jordan's son. Like, he had a horrible first half. He came back a little bit in the second half, but Butler's just not that guy. I've always said it too. That's why this year, you know, the way he beat Milwaukee was a little bit different. But Butler usually doesn't shine in the brightest lights. But it's clear that Jokic is just a monster. But still, no one cared. No one cared that Denver won. Do you think BTC dominance at the MO is it true we should wait for alts to break down more before buying into the alts? Or what do you mean dominance at the MO? I don't quite understand that. Alts will never go down to the previous levels from previous cycles. I think there's too many people that still cling on that hope that BTC dominance will go up to the 70 percentile again and then start coming down and then alts will rally. That'll never happen again. It won't. And here's why. Because the landscape now is different than previous cycles. Okay. DeFi was nothing back in 2017. The last time Bitcoin dominance went up that much was back in 2017. DeFi didn't really exist back then. There was no liquidity pools, basically. TVL was non-existent. NFTs were not as hot back then either. Not nearly as much bridges or chains. So BTC dominance could continue to go up, but to go up that high before it breaks down is not going to happen. So alts are doing way better this bear market, this past bear market, I should say, than any previous bear markets that we have ever seen. Way better. Even though it's still brutal, even though some of these were still down 80, 90%, right? but it's better than down 99.9% on every single thing like the previous bear markets. And recovery has been pretty good too. So just keep those things in mind. So I think there's still some clinging on hope that, oh, somehow Bitcoin dominance will go to like 70% and everything's going to drop to like 30%. It's not going to happen. And just look at Ethereum too. Ethereum's dominance is still holding around 20%. That in itself is amazing. Seems like docs released. That's great. Now people go study it. Why ads during live stream? Why not? Let's just say why not. YouTube likes to run ads on everything. Why not? Get YouTube Premium, and then you don't have to see ads. Although I don't even have YouTube Premium, and it pisses me off too when there's a lot of ads playing. So I get it. H-Bar will rock. It's a pure gem of projects. Lots of good things. Amazing use case. Partnerships. It will go to the moon soon. Okay, so rather than say it'll go to the moon soon, just say there's a lot of good stuff happening. That's you should have stopped there. Gala now has 24 billion circulating supply. What do you think about that? Why are you yelling? Why are you putting that in caps? Yeah, 21 billion. So did it just have a huge unlock? Well, they're at 21 billion out of 50 billion, right? They're about half released. Overall, they're holding at 480 million. So it seems like they're still pretty good. Gala is definitely the biggest gaming platform, and they want to get into music and movies and stuff. Maybe they're very ambitious, and they're still coming out games. So Gala is not going to go away anytime soon. I would say they're by far the biggest gaming platform. Number 2 would probably be Vulcan Forge, which is kind of going in a different direction, but way cheaper at this point. I think under 100 million. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Ben Cohen's stance that alts will continue to bleed against BTC until 2024? I just said it already. I just said it. I don't know what his official stance is, whether or not he thinks Bitcoin is going to go back to 70 percentile for dominance. I don't think it's going to happen. The U.S. is adding some pressure to the altcoins, no doubt, because of the SEC. But in many other countries, in most countries, that's not the case. Crypto will thrive, no matter what the U.S. does. It just may take a little bit longer. What is the market today? Still holding pretty good. Green. Probably going to continue to be green until tomorrow. The FOMC meeting tomorrow. And then Bitcoin is above 26. Slow and steady rise. You know, this is so weird right here. This was like a big FU to Gary after Bitcoin dumped down, went back up, right? So kind of surprised we went back down to this level and starting to climb up, but this was a big FU to Gary. Will I ever do any events in Atlanta, Georgia? To be honest, no. No. Unless I'm invited somewhere, right? Atlanta, Georgia is never a place that I would ever consider holding a conference. No offense. Just not somewhere I think about. Of all the places that would hold a conference, Atlanta, Georgia is not one of them. But you're not too far off from Fort Lauderdale. You could drive down to Fort Lauderdale. So that'll be in September. After I hold my Vegas conference, then the next up is the one I'm co-hosting with Flux Cypherpunk. That will be in Fort Lauderdale. So that's not that far away from Atlanta, right? IMX that competes with Gala. IMX is different, man. IMX is a whole chain. IMX is a whole chain that is supporting NFT projects and now soon gaming projects. So they're like an L1, or they're trying to be an L1, so a little bit different. IMX would be competing with like Vulcan. Vulcan also has their L1 now. So they're all trying to be like L1s and cater to the dApps or games in this case, right? Gala, they're not L1. Yeah, they're not. All right. Can Vitalik in some way be involved with XRP's case? Could affect ETH. Is XRP still good buy? I have those doubts. I don't know. I mean, XRP is still pretty darn low. It hasn't really moved. Hasn't really climbed up. In the last 90 days, it went up 43%. Yes, but don't let that fool you. It's still like 80% down from its previous high. Right, so it's like nowhere close to its previous high. So I don't know. The downside, of course, there's still downside, but I would say the upside at this point in time is worth the risk, because if they do win that lawsuit, XRP is going to fly. There's no doubt about that. They've been suppressed for a very long time due to it. $20K in Doge hitting 200K by what time period? I don't know. So you're asking when Doge will do a 10x, probably end of 2025? I don't know. Doge has been pretty, I mean, it's still in the top 10, but Doge, everyone was hoping that Elon would do something with Twitter with Doge, and he has made no indication at all there will be any kind of integration. Like, no talks about crypto, no talks about Doge. So the next bull run, Doge may not be that popular. There's so many other meme coins now. Sheeb is huge, and then you have the new one, Pepe, and then you have other ones that's coming out with other chains too. So I don't know. I question whether or not Doge will still remain that popular in the next bull run. All right, guys. Let's conclude. Overall, we got a good piece of data today. Inflation data shows lowest level in 2 years, although things are still very expensive. But it should lead to good things tomorrow. There's basically no chance that there won't be a pause, so that'd be good. But as for Bitcoin and everything else, still looking good. 48,000 new millionaires from Bitcoin alone in 2023. So think about that. That doesn't even count anything else. The Hinman docs are out. So people will study that. That's going to be good for Ripple and basically for everyone. Okay, so stay strong, my friends. I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And make sure, if you want to party with me and others and have a good old time in Vegas, check out wag.life and learn more about the party. All right, have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.